Yo. Boo. Flo. How's it going? Sheila. Yo. What's up? I'm going to try and use my tablet again. I was having issues with it last time. Oh no, Flo, that's brutal. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, freaking trying to keep cool is not easy. The Trusco? Yo, I see you posted a thing. Looking forward to looking at it. Hey, thank you for the follow as well. Steen, what's up, dude? Nice job on the lighting stuff, man. Oh no, really, Flo? What's the temperature for you today? Is it like 38? I've been hearing it's pretty hot. It's supposed to be 32 here on Saturday. And for Sweden, that's like quite warm. Our humidity is also really, really high here, so. Stalabov, what's up? Yo. Yo. Up to 42. Dude, that's wild. 36 in your whole apartment? Oh my god. What's up, Jamie? You melting over there? Martin, what's up, dude? I posted the critiques link if anyone in chat's looking to post stuff. Right now, we've only got one post, and it looks like Eden is maybe posting one, so a little low today. Probably no one wants to be in front of their computer. It's freaking hot. It's freaking hot, man. Man, Jamie, 38. That's freaking crazy. That is freaking wild. Wow, really, Boo? That's freaking crazy. Hottest it's ever been in France in the past 3 days since 1947. Yeah, I've lived in Malmo for 12 years now, and I think if it hits 32 or 33, I think that might be the hottest I've ever experienced in Sweden. Well, we'll have to see. Oh, there's Shokri's posting the thing. Now we got Eden and Simi's posting something. All right, maybe we should get started on that. I'm gonna just tone this down, and we'll get moving. Make sure I can hear my own tunes. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to open some of your guys' work as well. Shokri's got a bunch of images. Okay. Here we go. Oh, nice. No? No? Cool. Do I have to do this? Turn it on, off. There we go. Wow. All right. I'll just put me down here. Something like that. Cool. Let's see first. Quick test. Yeah, see, can you see my mouse? Okay. I see my mouse. This is good. Last time we could not see my mouse, which was quite problematic. But yeah. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to scroll up here. I'm going to call you Etrusco. Hope that works. So not exactly something that I'm currently working on, but it's the latest project I finished and would love to receive some feedback on that. So it's just general feedback on this piece. So this project is a collaborative environment in the Unreal Engine together with my colleague. I'm not going to say that name, but you were working together with a colleague. Nice. Scene was modeled in Blender, textured using Substance Painter, Substance Designer, with a strong focus on achieving a cohesive look faithful to the original concept. Maybe we should look at that concept as well, huh? Expanded on the original design, depth storytelling through materials and lighting, complete view of the environment, carefully maintaining visual consistency. So there's some pretty heavy focus on consistency. And then we have the Unreal render. We've got the concept. Okay, so the concept's in here. That's good. That's good. Nice. Got some close-ups. She's a really good friend of yours as well. Nice. Oh, really, Shokri? Yeah. Yeah, it's time. Okay. Oh, some nice breakdowns. I'm always a big fan of these, like GIFs. Lots of little micro tuning right at the end there. Started with broad pass as well, which is good. Broad pass or like infrastructure pass is a good approach. Because like if you get all the little details in there, you know, it becomes really painful to start changing all that stuff up. Asset selection. This is a great way of displaying your modular kit, or like all of the pieces that you ended up using. I like that it's in these little sections, so it's more digestible, I guess, if you want to say it like that. Okay, and then you did close-ups of each one of these clusters. This one's a little strange how it's framed. You'd probably want to center that up. And then if we scroll down, yeah, cool. Nice. I feel like all the materials could maybe just be put on one image unless there was like a big call out for a material, but generally speaking, these look pretty standard. And you just want to make sure they're clustered together so there's just not too much scrolling. All right, and you guys are using Mesh Blend. So for me, I don't know if this needs to be in the post because this is just you turning a thing on or off, right? Simon, what's up, dude? Sandwich, yo. Lily, hello. Procedural sand override, nice. Oh, that's cool, yeah. Triplanar materials. I have never seen it named that before. Modular, angular, normal. Is it just we would call these like edge decals? But I mean, it's not wrong. Vertex painting, nice. Nice. Getting all the breakup and whatnot. No vertex paint, no decals. I'm finding that name. That's funny. Okay. So there's a lot of scrolling in here. I almost feel like so if we go here, this image I feel like is enough to show all of the assets, and then maybe it's more about like the bizarre assets and the foliage that you'd want to show closer, just because they're going to be a little bit more unique in the way they're put together. Whereas like a lot of these are going to be tileables and trim sheets, and just I guess debatably less complex things that you had to solve, right? So like you wouldn't need these because of the material balls above. I don't think you needed the mesh blend GIF. This one's cool. This one shows like some technical execution stuff. This one's just thinking about like showing how you're using blending and whatnot, which is great. But yeah, if we go, let me see here. If we look at the concept, oh, Madhu is scratching the door. So if we look at the concept, maybe we can copy this and put it over here. Oh, it's actually both images. Okay, maybe I can do this. Or even, let me see here. Man, it's kind of wild. The concept's very modeled, isn't it? I think there's a lot of modeling work that went into that. Okay, so generally speaking, I think the work is pretty good. It's really nice looking. Let me turn this one back on. We'll just bring this over. I mean, I guess we don't even need this one, but yeah. Overall, it looks really good. I think there's just some details where like you could use a little bit more pushing, right? So if we look up here, we got these pieces that are like modeled. Oh, I can't even see. There we go. So you have these like pieces that are part of the texture. At least they look like they're texture, and in the concept they're lifted. You could get a lot more like push out of your details by doing that. I think the thing that's maybe sticking out to me the most is the sharpness of the foliage. So like in the concept, you can see that the foliage is there, but it's quite soft. I mean, maybe it's just because of the way the concept is kind of put together. But yeah, like you're not seeing anything too dark. Like that area gets a bit dark and this one gets a bit dark, but they're all quite soft. Like the back faces are lighter. Let me see with the shadows as well. The shadows are, because like here, I feel like you're doing a pretty good job of kind of capturing that. Maybe it's just the shadows are too dark. I'm not sure. No, I mean, your shadows are pretty good. I mean, there is a bit of a, like if your shadows were not as dark, there wouldn't be as much contrast here. But I like there's a good color that's in your shadows. That's really nice. The softness is there. I mean, maybe these shadows could be softer. I don't know if like, it's kind of hard to do because the shadows are going to be so sharp because the leaf is so close to the ground, right? Yeah, that's a tough one. But I think it's just generally the translation into 3D. You're going to get this contrast where shadows are going to be a little bit darker, like stuff that's like the faces that are in shadow are going to be darker generally as well. And it's more of like just the nature of like how foliage ends up and geometry just ends up being translated in 3D, like just the way it renders. So you can see there's a lot of like splotching of darkness in there, and maybe that's just a matter of like turning up the subsurface on the back sides of the leaves to try and get that darkness to be far less. You could try, this sounds weird, but in some cases you could try turning off the cast shadows on them and letting the screen space AO do the work and see what it looks like. Because maybe that'll get you a softer look. But I mean, this is pretty nitpicky what I'm talking about. I think if I, let me see if I can just like, I'm just gonna screen grab this, bring this up here. Nice, it got the shift, cool. Because I think this is the main stuff to focus on. There is for sure some like more micro detail stuff that could be going on, and that would help a lot. Yeah, I think it's just the shadows of the foliage. But it's pretty micro what I'm talking about. So it's just things that I'm noticing are like the softness here versus the softness here. Maybe the color of this is a little bit more milky. And if you got that pop of the green a bit more, that could help with like getting the look you're seeing here. There's some like the tapestry type overhang stuff. There's some colors here that are here. They're more like subdued or like blended into the environment. It's another thing that maybe could help with that type of detail. And then the other thing, I didn't capture it here, but like basically there's this idea that all surfaces that touch, right, affect each other in real life, right? So you have a piece of wood and then there's a nail hammered into it, and then that nail rusts, you get the drip of the rust down the side of the wood. And that type of thought process is kind of everywhere, right? So you're just going to see the wear and tear. And of course it's a little exaggerated in game art or 3D, but it's kind of what bridges the gap between surfaces and kind of melts everything together, you know? So there's no subsurface scattering on the foliage. Maybe that's the problem. That would be, because I can't tell which faces are the back sides of the leaves versus the front sides. So I think it would help, but it's worth it'd be worth looking at to see what's causing that. Because you can see even in here, even the details of the foliage is so micro that it ends up becoming quite aliased or like turning into like pixel noise. Whereas here it's quite soft. And so maybe it's just a matter of like getting too small in the details that are in the material. And those are leading to a lot of like little noisy interactions. I think the only other thing I was going to mention, let me see if I can delete that, was like when we look at again with the blending, the blending of the doorway or elements. So if we see like, you can see there's like this greenery here. Yours is there, but the contrast between the green and the wall is so large that it just becomes like a really strong detail. Whereas like I think toning it down so that maybe like the value is a bit brighter, it'll help blend it in a bit more. I don't know. It's a very, very micro thing for sure. And I think the way that you guys were detailing this stuff out, you can see that this surface is pretty flat. And then in here, there's a lot of like little textural differences. And that can be adding to that transition from this shape to this surface, right? So it could be as simple as like getting where is it at? You've got like a material that's in here. The one with the striations. Man, where is it? Yeah, I mean, it might be this one, but basically like getting lines and you're blending between this material and this material to help with the transition to the wall from the arch. That could do a ton. And maybe that's happening, and then it's just a matter of like missing ambient occlusion. But again, this is really micro things. If we look at how everything is kind of like, if you just start outlining the things you see, you know, you start to pick up on like the shape language of what's happening. Or like down here, it's like following these lines. Here's some stairs, and then it goes into whatever this shape is. And then there's some foliage stuff here. And then this line here that kind of follows this curve. There's this. And then it switches to this shape, but then there's some like stuff happening here. And then, so all that breakup is the type of breakup you're wanting to look for when you're working on like a 3D scene. And maybe, if we look closely, you can see you are doing it. There's some breaks here. There's this stuff happening here. Like this is how I'm reading it, right? And then there's like a block there. This. And it's like you're doing a pretty good job of already breaking all of those details up, so you're getting away from the geometry quite a bit. But like trying to find it's like localizing it so that's more localized and grounded to like the macro shapes. So architecture is a macro shape, right? And then like as you get smaller, it gradients off. So you go from like macro, this big piece here, to then medium, which is like these guys. And then these little ones, these are kind of going more micro. And then you get even smaller stuff. So it's like a gradient that falls off from like the macro shapes. Just something to be thinking about. And I mean, I think you guys are largely doing it. So you have the big macro shape, which is the building. Then you have these medium-sized shapes here, and then some smaller stuff. And then there's even a few other smaller things. And then you're even doing it in the material where you're falling off from this area to this area. Those are just things that I think you're doing well, and it's just more about keeping an eye on those things and looking for opportunities to make it feel more natural. Because it's there, and it's just there's areas where you go, wait, why is it like that? And then you look at the concept and you're like, oh, okay. Like thinking about these as playable spaces, like this is all stairwell, right? And of course, like I'll just draw this real fast. In the concept, what I'm seeing is this and this. So there's still a pretty clear path through if you were to think about it through like navigating it with your eyes. And then with yours, there's some like it gets narrower in some areas. I hope this is coming across clearly. What I'm saying. So you have this, and then you have a little thing here, and then this goes like this, and then it does that. So it gets really narrow here, and really narrow here, and then there's a big straight line. Whereas if we look at this one, there's some like, we're trying to break it up. Let's see if we, yeah, and maybe the blending is having you lose those steps as well. I guess for me, a lot of these details here all feel a bit random. Like this all feels like it's scattered in for some reason, but I don't know why. And I guess is the concept like that? Yeah, the concept's like that, which feels really strange. I guess it's coming off of the building. Like this building feels really old. It was like all the cracks and stuff. I think the last thing I would mention is your metals that are in the scene do not pop enough. Like you have, I'm assuming this is metal. These elements kind of look like metal. This is, I'm assuming, is like a metal. But here, you can see it. It kind of feels more reflective or feels more metallic-like. And I think you're just missing that that look when you go when you translated it to 3D. How's the hourglass looking? Yeah, there's a nice highlight there. That's good. Yeah, I think just pushing the reflectivity to just get that contrast in the material and the roughness. I mean, it's really cool though. Really interesting scene. Don't hesitate to take things like doorways here. I always talk about this as like something that will just help with depth. When you have this door frame, you can see right now it's like the door frame and then the door. But then the door is kind of parallel in depth to the wall. Just taking the doorway and pushing it just a little bit further back so it goes back in space. That does so much for like adding a bit of depth and kind of like realism to how the structure's put together. But I mean, a lot of the scene is really cool. It's just trying to find ways to improve it further. Like this is really cool with the pieces. Like that, this is all like modeled out and stuff. It's really, really nice. Like all this. See, and again, I feel like there would be something here. It can be really subtle as well. Maybe you don't want it to look super aged and dilapidated, but just some type of some buildup that's happening in these corners. And of course, there's some cracks and stuff happening. Maybe you just bring those in. And same with this window. This window looks like a mirror placed on a wall, not a window into a space. Raggedy, what's up? Yo. Yeah, cool. Very cool. It's a very nice scene. It does definitely feel balanced as far as like the thematics and what you were going for visually. And it fits really nicely against the concept. Quite impressive. And you can see how dark this area is versus this one. So like if you squint, they're kind of close. But like this upper area gets a little bit darker. A lot of the focus is actually, it's like over here. And you can see over here, it doesn't feel like you did this area. Like you forgot about it. Or it wasn't a focus. When here, it does feel like there's a lot of like overgrowth and stuff or like little rubble pieces and whatnot. But then all of this, like that's super interesting. Is that like, yeah, you guys are achieving that there. But you can see how like thin this feels. This feels much thinner. Dope. Dopeness. I'd be curious to see what your ambient occlusion render looks like. Because I think that'll really affect the things that are in shadow. Like if you use material ambient occlusion. Cool. Okay. I'm going to hop to the next one. So we can look at what's going on with Shokri. Let's see if we can't pop this over. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, really nice scene. It's scary when the scenes are that good because you're like, what do I say? What am I supposed to say here? This is looking pretty fire, Shokri. This is kind of crazy. You sent a couple of images, so let me read your text here really fast. Like, hey everyone, last time I said I was done, but in conversation with my friend, he said it looks good, but would make it more interesting because the location is good. If it just can't do anything there game wise, so he recommended me to open the cellar under the altar. I did that, and he had me make some props. Also add some dust particles in the scene. Marmoset renders are done now. And yes, there's some cropping. Okay. So You tried to send me not a 16K photo. Thank you. Thank you. Cool. Let me bring this over too so we can see this. Yeah, so this is like the opening, right? Pretty cool, pretty cool. This bag feels a little out of place. There's some stretching and stuff here as well. But yeah, this bag feels a little out of place, maybe because first I don't really know how it works. Is there supposed to be a zipper here or whatnot? And then the scale of the strap feels really thin, and like width-wise, it feels really narrow, but then it also feels really, really thin. So you need a texture, okay. But like even with no texture on it, I don't understand it. I don't understand the scale of it, how it works, any of that stuff. There's also this prop, which I believe you have a screenshot of. Could bring that in here. So this is the Marmoset renders, I imagine. It's really quite stylized in the way it's textured. I don't know, is that the intention? So this is in engine. This is in Unreal. Not really? Okay. So the reason it feels a bit stylistic is the way that your edge highlights are happening, like all these details here, like all the line work, you know, it's very even. I think if you did it as like a additive and then toned it down and let the texture like come through, it'll probably modulate the color enough that it'll feel more natural instead of painted. Because I do like the effect of it. It's just a little painterly feeling. It's really crispy too. I don't know if that's like because of the way you're rendering it. It just feels really sharp. It doesn't have the softness that you see in the rest of the scene. And I mean, in here, it's much smaller, right? But the story you're telling here, like, okay, we've got this open. I would just like take all the pieces that you have and make this go off into darkness instead of like into a wall. This shot is really cool. But like, first we have the stretching, right? There's some wild stretching stuff going on here. You'll definitely want to address that. And then the way these tablets are kind of set up, I don't know. I guess they were slotted in like this, right? You probably want it to feel like they were slid open. Like maybe you would do it from the same side, so both sides would be over here, and you'd make it feel like they came from the, like, further explain these that they were here, right? So like there's this like grunginess and stuff here, and then there's also some like discoloring or like mossy type materials here. Has this been open for a long time or recently opened? Because if it's recently opened, there shouldn't be much stuff going on here, and like this should be largely like kind of chalky or damp and not really like not a lot of plants and stuff down there. You could even like imagine some like scrape lines. This sounds a little crazy. Maybe it would be decals. I don't know. I'm not sure. Some scrape lines where you can tell like that they got the tablet over the edge, and then they just pushed it and slid it. So like you could have some of the plants pushed out of the way and are under it, and then maybe some of the plants are coming out this way. And then I mean even dirt, if like, because this would contact the ground for sure, tilted, and then it would have shoved a bunch of dirt forward, right? So it should be recently. Okay. Yeah, so you'll want to like try and make this feel, try it out and see what it feels like. Yeah, if you open this up and just let it go into darkness and make this more dusty, dude, you could put some like footprints, man, you know, in the dust going into the shadows. Stuff like that. It's like storytelling. There's the other thing too is like where this bag is located. I don't really understand why the bag is there. And then I see this is open, but does that mean that were they standing here and then opened it, but then moved the tablets? Or were they standing here? Like if they were standing here and then they opened it, then it would be open this way, you know? I can't draw. It'd be open this way. So it's like trying to make it feel logical in the way stuff is put together. This symbol as well, dude. I would pump that way up. Like get a lot of depth out of it. You could even like model it so it's extruded out if you wanted to, or like parallax it or something. Just get that symbol to be nice and popped out. I'm trying to think what else we got going on here. Imagine you were opening this. What did they use to leverage lifting these up to get under them to then slide them to the side? There should be something here that implies that happened, or how they did it, like a crowbar or something similar. And then imagine you're standing here and you get the leverage. You're able to move it out of the way just enough to like get your legs in, and then you shove it, and you're shoving it this way, for example. And then you're okay. I'm able to get even lower in there. Oh, but my glasses are like, I'm sweating, or like the thing that I was holding, I need to put it down. Where would you put it? You'd put stuff like around the edges. Just trying to like tell that story. You can even like do a bunch of footprints in that area to show the like how that happened. It sounds extremely hardcore, but that's kind of like, those are the things that allow the player to really connect with what's happening or story tell through the propping. So even when there isn't characters, you can feel like you're right behind someone. You're on their tail. But yeah, overall, this scene's pretty cool. I would say if you're planning for this to be a frame, one of these to be broken in half, I mean, that is one option. Or like chipped or whatever. Or like broken here. And like that piece is maybe like down here. Something like that. And maybe that's how they got their leverage. But like squint at it and then look at the language that it tells you. So what I see is this. I see this. And I see this. Right? And if that feels too simple to you, it's finding ways to take that shape language and push it a little bit further. So like maybe this bottom foliage line, this is a really easy one to rationalize. You could have the foliage go up quite a bit higher in one area, and now you get some asymmetry, right? So like maybe the plants and stuff get up a little bit higher here. Maybe they get up a little bit higher in this spot as well. And then that'd be it. That'd be more than enough to get that symmetry broken, or to kind of get into a more natural feeling or a natural way of breaking up the space. The breaking of a corner is quite interesting, just because it does a lot for storytelling, but also to just get away from these straight lines. Right? Like if that's broken off, then all of a sudden this piece becomes something a little bit more like this, right? Try and think what else you could look at doing. I like that there's this dirt and skull stuff going on in the back. The dirt feels like it might be a bit simple. And maybe you could even have like a light dedicated to like emphasizing just the top of a skull, or like that bone line in the, like if we, let me see if I can do this. I'll just level this up. No? You're not going to give it to me? Okay, hang on here. How about this one? Do some gamma adjustments. White levels. And then we'll just mask. Invert the mask. And then it's like... see if we can't... something like this, just so you get a little bit more definition. Even that bone. Oh, nice. We got pixel grid. Even that bone is pretty nice. Like, don't hesitate to put a few other objects in there. We can see like that information just pops out so much more because of this. Maybe we even do the cheekbones and the bone there. So you can see, just so that it reads a bit more. And then this, all of this is pretty old, so I would expect to like get some grimy bits down here. Something to just, you know, connect all the aging. I'm just doing this with the highlighter. Maybe I can just grab this level now and then do the other thing the other way. Right? It's just something like that. Yeah. Anyways, this scene's sick, man. Let me go to the other one. Like this shot. This shot is super powerful. I'll delete that. I think yeah, this is pretty rad. So are these, this ivy that's growing up, like there's some angles where the leaves get really like planar to the camera. Those I would try and like tilt more towards the camera. And then like I know you're saying they're coming from here. Like from this soil here. But I feel like it needs to be a bit more grounded to like make sense where it's coming from. And maybe it's here, right? And then from that, it expands upwards, and then funnels in from that side area. And like maybe this one can start back here, because it needs to feel like it's coming from somewhere. And right now, I don't feel like there's enough soil here to like rationalize it. Freaking powerful scene though. Like this is dope. This is really dope. See, I'd even like, I can see there's a bit of green starting to come up here. I'll just like fill that in so it really like climbs the, like I'm doing a pretty bad job of painting this, but just connecting that more, making it feel a little bit more voluminous. Really cool. This shot to me is pretty sick now. I think I still want, like you're getting some nice highlights on the little bits here. Something about this metal, it just blends into the background. And I just want it to separate. I don't know. It's like, we've talked about it before as well. I think it just that back needs to be darker. You know? Like if I did that and then we just did a mask here, invert it. Let's see. I'm like, is that working? What is happening? Oh, it is working. Like, what? I just kind of bring that in. Are we even? Yeah, cool. Cool. Yeah, it's just trying to get that separation. Quick question. Do you think it's smart to make a separate post for the cross and the chest as well as props in general? No, I think... I mean, I wouldn't say it's smart or dumb. It's more like... I feel like that's more for an asset breakdown, which I think is part of the scene post. If you feel like you're stretched thin for content in your portfolio, for now, sure, separate them out. But I would separate out the breakdown of the scene in its entirety, separate of the renders. So that way the props that are separated out for the breakdown has value in clicking on it, if that makes sense. Dude, the lighting's freaking fire, man. I love this. What's outside the window feels a little weak, or the edge feels really simple. The wall feels super thin, by the way. I'm just seeing that now. I don't know why it feels that way, because I think this is the side of it. It's not thin at all, but it's giving the illusion that it's a thin wall. Nah, it's really nice. I want to see it in motion. I want to see it moving. Yeah, see, this is really nice as well. Man, it's super high res. This feels a little strange to me. The way it's like... I don't know, the roughness that's on it. It's the noise that's on it, I think. It's white strips around every edge. Aha. I wonder if there's a better angle to show that. Yeah, this also feels a little strange. Dude, yeah, this... You got to angle those so that they're more in your face. Like, if you publish it with this, I'll be sad. I understand this is a glass cap as well, so it's just it reads funny. I don't know. It's maybe the detail of what's in the roughness on the glass is making it read a little funny. Man, this attention to detail with the nails and stuff, and they're lifting, and dude, that's dope. That is dope. Really nice stuff. I wonder if it should be kind of weird. I was like, if it feel dusty in there or whatnot, but I think I might be getting a little too in there. These feel like they might be too dark. I don't know. Try playing around with the value of them and just see what it feels like. But yeah, that flatness is killing me. Killing me softly. This is cool. Little scraggly bits. Yeah, there's a lot of cool things to look at. You're like, ooh, that's kind of cool. Oh, look at that. That's cool too. Super nice. If there was a way, I don't know how, but if there was a way to get light, because from this view, that is not an opening to me. If there's a way to angle lighting just right to like hit this and maybe pop the shape that's on there, or like have the light hit the ground and then you can see that the light goes down into an opening. Texel density thing. Oh, Shokri, you demon. Wooden chests and wood have the same texel density and the cross. This one. I mean, the wood feels a little low res by comparison of everything else. But it could be just the sensation you're getting from the mask of like the edge highlights in there. You could maybe like a detail normal or something could get you that extra level of information. But yeah, I see it. There's some like this is more realistic in direction versus the wood. Yeah. Yeah, the wood feels soft. Again, I think it could be those highlights. If those highlights were bringing the value up of the color below them, it might help a little bit. But yeah, it feels a little soft in the resolution. If we're gonna get like really into the details of it. The scene though, man. It's good stuff. Really good stuff. Madu's outside. Really cool. Nice job. It's almost there. Almost there. Dude, nice job, man. All right. Simi, let's look at your stuff. Just drag this in here. Oh, I remember this scene. Dude, the style is freaking dope. Is it Simi only? Is that how you say? What's going on here? There's this one, then there's this one. Oh, slightly different angles. I see. This floor piece, are these supposed to be sticking up or going in? Inwards or outwards? You know? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it like this? Or is it like this? Inwards. Okay, I think your normal map's flipped then. Yeah, I think the normal map is inverted. Because like the light's coming from this way, right? So I would expect this side to be highlighted and this side to be dark, but it's actually the reverse. So it actually looks like, forgot to flip, nice, cool. It's just something, I immediately pick up on that type of stuff. But dude, the style, the look and feel you're going for, man, so cool. I think there's chromatic aberration going on in here. Maybe it's a hair too strong. But I really like the cell shaded look you're going for. In the shape language of the details you've got going on and the way you're texturing things. I freaking love this stuff. These like little gradients and the chipping here and yeah. And then this little, the cell shaded or the outline, not cell shaded, the outlining that you're doing on these edges is really, really nice. Nice. There's a little sock sticking out there. I think that sock, I would do that with, I would maybe do the sock as a textured object. I think that's in the texture right now, right? It might be the angle, but the spacing of like where this leg is to the edge feels like the legs are off center from the top. Do you know what I mean? It's a strange sensation I'm feeling. I don't know if that's real or not, but it feels like it. Feels like the top is offset from the legs. The box is nice. Nice detail there with the tiles. The tiles are quite subtle. The tiles also look like the normal is flipped. The handle's quite large, but I think the style you're going for kind of warrants that. Let's look around here a little bit. Same shader. Nice. Nice. I mean, it's your normal map, right? So. Dude, I love this spot right here. Like, you have this nice wide shadow. I don't know if it's like a shadow or like the edge of the lighting. And then you have the shadow from this popping through that. If you could like bring the light maybe this much further so that you get this nice fat shadow that cuts through it, it'll just look a little bit more, it'll feel more dynamic. At least to me, I think it will feel more like visually dynamic. I'm looking forward to everything having this fidelity, this feeling to it. Because the style, the look you've got going on for the washing machines, dude, if you get that everywhere, like I feel it here too. This is great. If you can get everything to that texture, oh man, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited because it feels like there would be these, you know, maybe this is color or these are colored or something like that. Maybe this, we pull this blue here. Oh, wow, that's not blue. What the hell? Something like that. And just, is that not gonna, no? No? Cool. I was like, please, sir. What? I thought clone brush. Alt, I see the clone stamping. Maybe it doesn't do it on multiple layers. Oh, that'd be weird. Current layer and below. There we go. Yes. Yeah, getting that type of awesome. Nailed it. So good. I think you get the idea. But yeah, and then the colors, right? We get those colors in there. I'm very excited for the scene. I see where it's going. There we go. But yeah, get on all those little details. Yeah, this is gonna be cool. You just make sure I'm not. I don't know what you want to do for the glass, and it feels like this place is asking for stickers or warning signs. Hey, make sure you pick up, like, clean the lint, like, blind thing, and make sure that you throw all the trash away. There'd probably be on the ground, there's probably going to be some, like, lint bits around stuff, like maybe closer to the edges. And a little bit of gradient on the wall will go a long way on, like, textural, like, aging. Stickers, definitely. Like what you got going on here with the paper. stickers and notice information and any of that stuff. Wow, I just noticed the outside too. Is this ground level? Is that a sidewalk? Dude, taking any of the props in here and just placing a few of them outside is going to do a lot for like just kind of connecting the space. Very cool though. I'm looking forward to it. Puddles under the machine. Oh, nice, dude. Yeah, one of them can be a bit leaky. There is, I mean, each one of these is a clone, right? So like make sure that you're kind of breaking up the like the paint damage or whatnot. See if you can like make another version of it or set up the shader to give you the variety. But yeah, dude, I'm looking forward to like all these surface variation happening on these because it feels like they're needing it, and then gonna be in business. Oh, nice. This squish feels a little strange in the corner. Just FYI, this squishiness. It's like folded, like pressed. So watch out. Watch out for that. But I forgot to read your message. Let me make sure I got everything. So first of all, thanks for encouraging me a few months ago to build the whole environment instead of just the washing machine. I've been working on the environment instead of the washing machine assets. I've been working on it bit by bit, but I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I'm happy with how it's turning out. It feels like a space, like there's logic to it. It's really nice. Just heads up, the floor and the textures are placeholders for now. Yellow. So the floor, if you fix that normal and then just added some breakup in the roughness or some dirtying, I don't think it's actually that far off from being good enough, especially if you put the puddle on there. Ryujin, hey, thank you for the 9 months. Thank you very much. Haven't modeled the clothes that will be spinning inside the machine yet, but they're definitely on my radar. Dude, you're going to have this animated? Bro, let's freaking go. They're going to be spinning, or it's going to be in motion as like kind of moving. Do you have any feedback or tips on what I can improve at this stage in the environment? Love to hear them. All right, cool. I think I got it all. The door feels like I'm not sure what the door is going to be yet. Like, is it a metal door? Is it like a pressed wood with vinyl door? Is that thing on the top, is that a window? Oop. Is this a window or a whiteboard with notice information? And then yeah, the stickers, that's gonna be key. All these like little knobs and stuff, things that you twist and whatnot, or press buttons and all that. Think about like tilting them just slightly, so maybe like the resting upwards position is not perfectly straight. Wooden door. Okay, cool. It's a window. All right, so wooden door, window. Nice. Nice, nice. Cool, man. Yeah, it's got such character to it. And the colors you're using reminds me of Tekken Concrete, if you've ever heard of it. Yeah, Tekken Concrete was freaking dope. Let me see if I can find the... It's from that animation? No, you're kidding me. Peak, dude. Hell yeah. Let me hang on. We're getting this. There's a lot of the same like visual color language and stuff. I watched this in the movie theater. I mean, it's kind of what I'm saying, Tekken Concrete. I have the art book of this as well. Dude, sick. No way, a 4K update this month or next? Dude, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, we're going to hop to the next one. Really nice stuff. I'm looking forward to the completion. It's coming. I can feel it. What is going on? There we go. All right, cool. Nice. Ooh, Eden. Ooh. Ooh. I'm digging. So you're currently working on all the textures. Right now I'm trying to get the proportions right and would like guidance on that as well. As your input of the aspect ratio of the scene. In the concept, it's sort of in the height 1920 by 1080, and I was wondering if it should follow that, maybe keep it 1920, 1080 for the sake of the rest of the portfolio. I mean, I like what you're doing with it. I think what you're doing in the background is really interesting, and the way you're continuing the environment to just kind of fill it out. Man, those wood bits are wild. How did you screenshot this? This looks super low res. Is that me? No? It's just really low res. I'm like, huh, interesting. Because I want to zoom in, but all I'm getting are pixels. Oh, no, it's all good. I mean, we don't need to measure the texture right now, right? We're just looking at the, you're asking for proportions and all of that. Let me see if I can grab this bit here. Oh, it's too late. She's dumping higher res images. Update. Oh, buddy. Okay, framing wise, I'm digging it. Are you gonna do the sheep? You have the project open right now. You're like, I'm going to work on the feedback real time. So you did take some adjustments with what's here. Maybe it's the camera angle that you've tilted a little bit to like show a little bit more of this area. But I mean, I like it. I think it's good. I would definitely get more of the steps in and try and figure out the positioning of all of that before you continue texturing. Like there's a cellar door there. You're going to have to get the terrain all around that and whatnot. I'm digging this though. So let me see here. I like in the concept, I like how much this part comes up right here. Like this bit, and then it comes out, and then it goes around, and then it comes back in. And you lose that right now. You don't get that same visual sensation. And I think that would be nice to see. Maybe even a little bit higher, right? Something like that. But either way, I mean, it's feeling pretty good. Yeah, because you can see like, oh, can I not? What is going on? Dude, they have different erasers in this, and they freak me out. Like, why can't I erase that? What is that about? What? But like, always look at these lines and like where they take you. can check your heights, see where things line up. Of course, your perspective is a little different, right? But like you can use that to kind of gauge heights from their angle, and it'll help you derive your own metrics. Yeah, you've got the little bit there. Maybe sticking it out a little bit more will be good. Some good tilt on all the rock setup. Your rock base is rocking. Like it's a lot. Like if you look at the spacing here to this roof and look at the spacing of yours, there's a huge jump. It feels like maybe that's a little higher than it needs to be. Like you take this whole top and just lower it a little bit. The terrain maybe needs to, let's see here. If we take your terrain, it probably needs to do a little bit more of this. Just to like bridge that gap, this spacing here. And then you get your steps in there. Got to get those steps in. It's all about health, man. And then there's like a little bit of a wall here. This wall piece and your wall piece, of course, I know you're only like blocking stuff out. But I think if you're already texturing it, this shape language should probably be a lot closer to like what you're trying to target. And like all these steps should exist already. And then you get your, I don't think you have like a dirt color in there yet. You can see how high this is and how front facing it is versus this one. This one's like there, and then there's the side. So your side maybe could be here, but you can see the height. There's some stretching that's going on. And maybe it's just the perspective, because like this is painted, and then once you translate it to 3D, that just changes everything, right? Trying to figure out where the eye level is. I think it's somewhere around here. And with yours, it kind of feels like, let me see here. With yours, it feels like it might be here. I'm trying to imagine where the camera is. Something like that. The walls are next on your list. Try your hardest to not texture anything and just tell yourself that all of the modeling feels good, especially if you're going for the stylized texturing approach. It's gonna be really difficult, I think, to not, you know. Because yeah, you want everything to feel like it's in a good place, and then start your texturing pass. And of course, you can go back and forth and do tweaks and whatnot. I'm digging it though. Like, of course, this is like rounded, and this one's more of like a hill or plane. It's just a matter of, you know, getting that shape language across. Really cool though. It's a cool scene you picked. Cool concept. And then later we can tweak the colors and match them all up and stuff. But yeah, are you right now? The ground is modeled, right? Are you gonna just model it and texture that? Or how are you planning to approach your terrain? Modeled in ZBrush? Cool. That is, honestly, it's totally fine. It's the approach you're going for, you know? But I'm digging it. I'm digging the language of it. I'd maybe just like, if I had to change three things. It's the terrain adjustments for the path, the height of this, and the height of this. Everything else is doing well, I would say. And then it's, you know, finish on the general modeling pass to get all the shapes in the right spot and all that stuff. And then texturing and adjustments as you go, because you can go back and forth, of course. This might be important to get in. You know, this stuff here, the hanging clothes setup. And whatever is behind it, it looks like some rocks and a few like stone pieces. There's something else here. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a washing bucket thing for the clothing. But getting that in is going to affect your composition. So that's something to get in there before. Man, I would say go even a little bit wider now that I'm seeing it. Like go maybe out to go out to here. Yeah, because this will give you the room. If you go out to there, hang on here, maybe somewhere around there. That'll give you the space for this to not feel too crowded, because you've got like this little string thing here. Right, this piece. That's gonna have to show up and it's gonna need room. I mean, maybe you need even something like that. Pretty sick though. Digging it. Digging it. Do you have any other questions before I jump to the next one? Nah, I'm good. Cool. Cool. Really nice stuff. It's a really cool concept to go off of. It looks fun. Yes, and I can't wait to see the sheep. Challenge accepted, right? Okay. Dude, look at this. This is looking pretty rad. Okay, I'll tell you the first things that stuck out to me. This bit here. This thing is really black. Those are really, really black. I don't know what's going on there. They look broken. The next one was this leaf. Feels like it stops right on the edge of the frame. This one too, right there. I'd either raise those up or lower this line to just give them the room. You know? Got you. How you doing, Tubji? Yeah, so those stuck out to me. I think so the color, the mood, the vibe that you got going on here is feeling pretty good. Let me look at your histogram and is it your saturation? Because if we pump it up, it gets too wild, right? But I do like the bit of color here. I don't know if you can see the difference here. It's very, very subtle. But it's giving you a bit of color here, and then the rest kind of gets lost in the sadness. Okay, so we've got these leaves. And then right here. Oh man, come on. Right here. These bricks feel really, really small. They feel like 25% smaller than they're supposed to be. I can't describe it. It feels like it doesn't need to be in post-processing if you want to do it like locally in like Photoshop or whatever afterwards. But a little bit of saturation is helping here. But yeah, these feel like they're like 25% of the size they're supposed to be. I don't know why that's happening, because I see these ones back here, and these ones feel bigger. Or they feel the same size, which is kind of weird. So like this feels like it should be about that far away. You modeled them based on the texture. Yeah, so the texture maybe is just tiling too much. It's like the scale of those just feels really tiny. Could be an illusion as well. Just doesn't feel right for whatever reason. It's feeling nice and soft now though. The AO and all that stuff looks like it's feeling pretty good. Let me see about the this angle, I don't think you need it. Because the other shot looks much stronger. This one I like. Dude, the transition here is really strange, right? Because you just have the stones just get cut by that. I would see if you can get like a dirt edge mesh that you can just place right on that edge. So it's kind of like if we were to think about it from a side view. So like take this edge and this ground, pretend this is the side view. So here's this piece. This is the side view of it, right? So there's the edge and then the ground here, that's this. And what I'm thinking is like get a little bit of like get a dirt mesh that you can do this with. Right? So it just kind of like helps you hide the transition between a tileable texture to like a trim curve. You do that and it'll help separate the elements, but then also connect them in a logical way. There's a lot of like little grass blades going on here. I feel like don't be shy to like add little bits or more of them so that they're all near each other and they kind of follow the crevices. Like little localized areas. Like over here, this spot feels like it should be quite fluffy. So don't hesitate to add more here. And maybe, I mean, maybe you can take the normal of this. I don't know if this is being displaced or not, but you could take the normal of this and just lower the strength of it. So it doesn't come off so like texturally noisy, because it feels more like carpety normal stuff. I don't know how to explain it, but the surface feels a little artificial. And I think toning that normal down will just soften it a little bit. Yeah. Is this wet? What's going on there? Is that supposed to be like a wetness to the ground? There's parallax on it. Ah. I mean, I would reserve the parallax for the stones. Because like when you have parallax on it as well, these start to feel like they float. And I know this is geo. So if those feel like they're floating, you might need to adjust the plane at which they start to parallax from. Yeah, wetness? Okay. Yeah, see, I see a puddle here too. So that puddle, this puddle here looks really dark. And you probably want that puddle to feel wet, but not turning into a mirror. I'm trying to think how you would, because what happens when surfaces get wet, depending on the porosity of them, they become darker and more saturated. But like this is just turning into like a mirror, like black mirror. what you could probably do is derive the same textures and increase the saturation and the value, lower the value so it becomes a little bit darker. And then where you paint this mask, you shift the roughness to be more wet, but you also take the albedo, make it darker and more saturated. Because this puddle here doesn't really read, or this wetness. Yeah, it doesn't really read as wetness. Let me see if I can find this one kind of illustrates what I'm talking about. So this and this, they're the same material, but one's been like wiped with water. And you can see how much more information kind of shows up in it. It almost feels like two different materials, but it's the porosity of the material changes the saturation and value of it. The one on the left is a decal, and the one on the right is Vertex paint. Yeah, that makes sense. This looks more like Vertex paint, and this looks like a decal. You probably could get away with like lowering the... Man, it's difficult because you do need the interaction between the surfaces for when it becomes wet. So I don't know if I would go with a decal. I would probably try and... No, you know what you could do just for speed? You could make this a decal still, but don't have any albedo information on the decal. And then in the terrain material, set it up so that you can paint where it becomes darker and more saturated and paint where the decal is. A little bit of a hack, but it'll get the point across for sure. But yeah, just go outside with like a spray bottle, look at something dry, and then spray it with some water and look at how it changes. It's quite interesting. It's the most nerdiest thing I think I've ever done outside. There's taking pictures of ground, and then there's taking pictures of ground with a spray bottle, and then spraying it before and after. It's pretty weird, pretty hardcore. You had a few other images. Yeah, so like I was saying, I don't think you need this image. I like the other one better. The bicycle image is good. I don't know. Like the fountain is nice. The fountain is nice, but I don't think you need... Okay, no, you know what? The fountain, this angle is fine to have. I think what's throwing me off is, see this highlight where things are underwater? There wouldn't be a highlight like that. What wouldn't we do for 3D modeling? But yeah, so you can see how like there's highlights and stuff of the details down here. I would probably... You can make it use the stones. I mean, the materials down there are fine. It's the roughness of it. Like, there's no reason for the highlight to be here, right? Because all of the highlight should be on the water surface. Yeah, this feels a bit forced as well, but I see what you're trying to do with the wetness and the... But yeah, there won't be any specular highlights or specular lobes on the surfaces underwater. It'll be on the surface of the water. This shot's cool. Man, I would love to see this shot where it's like just rotating slowly to look at the centerpiece mesh. But this centerpiece mesh only looks as good as the weakest thing around it. You know what I mean? And right now it's like these details here are kind of throwing you off. But this asset looks pretty dope. Kind of feels like it needs some drippage at the bottom here. You know, calcium buildup, calc or whatever, calc. Really cool though. The scene's really come a long way. Where's the, like this shot? Dude, this shot's sick. There's a lot going on there. This shoe has a little bit of a tangent with the corner here. I would maybe move the shoe here just so it has room to be identified. It's feeling good. Maybe make the shader not so shiny. So anything under the water won't have a specular, basically. So you could like separate out the element down there and then just make the specular value 0. I think by default it's 0.5. How are you achieving the water? Is that just like a plane with like a depth fade on the edge? Yeah. Okay. So it's a plane, maybe depth fade on the edge. The water should be receiving the most like highlight information if you want it to be seen. But yeah, no highlights under the water. Dude, cool. Do you have any questions before I use the default water material in the engine? Yeah, I mean, that's fine. You just need to go in and tweak it. I don't think Epic uses their default water. They customize it for sure based on their needs. So like your water looked kind of dirty or old. I don't know if that's the intention, but it's like yellowish. Whoa. Okay, Nick, you're up, buddy. Do you have the reference for this by chance? Yeah, 1 second. All right. All right. Why are you sorry, Topchi? Oh, hang on. While Nick is getting his thing, the dinosaur plushie on the stairs, is it worth finishing it? On the stairs. Talking about this one? You see it in the other shots? Let me see here. I mean, honestly, to me, it kind of looks done. Yeah, it kind of looks done. Why are these these aren't blurry, but the environment is. That's kind of weird. These leaves that are on the ground. Something to note. All right, where are we at, Nick? Okay, copy image. Let's bring it in here. Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, yeah, dude. Hang on here. That's right. That's what I'm doing. Boom. Boom. Okay. Man, there's a lot of micro information going on here. The gun will be the last thing you work on so DEF CON can watch you go insane. Nice. Yeah, this one here. I mean, it's not too crazy. And the what's going on in the surface is quite, like, general. I don't know. Cool. Okay, so there's some really, like, artsy colors going on in this. And then there's some brush stroke action going on. I think right now I would look at the model of your helmet and maybe like pull the front of it forward a bit more. Like if you were to soft select the front of this and just pull it forward, that'll help a lot, I think. And then all of this, like this kind of cakey, painterly looking information, dude, I would paint what that looks like in the roughness and apply that in the roughness. Or like get a tileable of this type of noise and tile it in the roughness. So there's a lot of like surfaces in here. You're really gonna have to push to like get it to get it to pop. So like, see with these pages. Oh man, hang on. Let me view. I feel like I always have to turn this off. Like it comes back online. Show pixel grid. There we go. Okay. So these colors for the pages, those are going to be something like you can see everything right now is very warm. And like here is very purpley and cool. There's cool colors going on here. But like I can see these little highlights being roughness differences. Where like each page you would just kind of push the roughness up and down to get like different highlights in there. Or you could do it with normals, where you just have like strips of normals that are going in a slightly different vectors, so you get different angles of lighting on them. Not too extreme, but like they would do that thing. They would have this different values in them. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in here. Like this, like a lot of painterly things. A little piece of paper there. This is starting to get into the territory that you're looking for, I think. But like, look at the colors. Definitely push the colors. And this is a deceptively hard scene now that I'm looking at it closer. Because you've got like these like plum looking things, these plum apple whatevers. And they just need to have light passing through them, subsurface action. And you can see how bright this back wall gets. Definitely need to get that brightness in. Like I'm not sure where your lighting's coming from, but you're missing the lighting on your window frame right now. And then the back wall to like diffuse it. This back fin you'll probably want to do with like a similar approach to like hair cards. Because this, I feel like this lighting only goes about this far. Dude, this looks like you could probably use like metallic or metalness here to get all these little details. Dude, there's like something written there that's squished in the concept. That's funny. And you got little like, there's little bookmark pages or like bookmark tassel thingies. The saturation of this stuff is pretty wild though. And you can see like right now, like I know you're still working on it, but like the roughness of this, you can see how it's all, it's kind of more plasticky right now. And there's a little bit of clipping in the shelf. What you'll probably want to do is shift the roughness more to follow the textural patterns so that the little highlights happen on like where the texture is. And that'll get you away from this like plasticky look. Yeah, so I think what I would do Adjust the helmet metrics so that the front comes out a little bit more. It's a really cool concept. Add the little details that you're seeing in the work that you don't have yet, like the little bookmark pieces. Block out the gun. Just get it blocked out. Like you don't need to go crazy with it yet. Just get the shapes in there and like a rough like albedo and roughness value on it and the metallic values, right? Just so everything is in place. And then match your lighting. Get the lighting so this back wall gets lit up, diffuses the shadow quite a bit. The frame of the window needs to get lit up quite a bit more. And then it's on to like texturing and getting the surfaces to read. Like, dude, this thing's crazy. There's even a little flame in there. There's a lot that needs to go on right here in order to sell it. And then, yeah, look up some hair techniques for like a tileable brush like that. And then maybe you like dupe a bunch of them so they're kind of layered. Yeah, it looks like some type of tea brewing thing going on here with some like leaves and stuff. It's so painterly. So painterly. This is actually the last piece as well in the call. We've got like 15 minutes if you guys have any like burning questions. It's a little bit of a crack here. There's some dust in the air as well. And then you got some crack against the wall. This wall, now that I'm seeing it like this pattern and stuff, you could maybe make that in a tileable and just position it just right so that's kind of like that. But it's really like brush strokey looking. I almost want to see if you could find brushes in Painter that can help you get that effect. What the pattern would be? I mean, what I would do is probably achieve this first and then make up a shape that kind of looks like this and make up a shape that kind of looks like that and just make sure that they tile enough or they tile few enough in the texture itself that you don't see it again like down here. So this could just be in like the top left of a tileable that looks like this surface. And then you just UV to position it into place. So first nail this, then place patterns. We don't need to like overcomplicate it or anything. There's a line here too though, and I don't understand what that is. It must be the shadow of the frame of the window. I don't know. It's my guess. This is a deceptive piece though. Like you don't even have to do this whole scene. You could do just this and it'll already be like, whoa, that's crazy. Split paint wall? I mean, it could be. Yeah, it could be just like a different paint color. Yeah, there's like some... Yeah, they're not doing it on this wall, which is quite interesting. So it's just one wall that's split paint. Man, yeah, it's really intriguing. It sounds crazy, but you could go this abstract and just kind of follow the shape language and just match those colors and just have alpha. And it could just be like a painterly looking leaf thing that's kind of filling the space and capturing the same vibe. Dude, these are all clear too or something. Or they're metallic. It's very interesting. But yeah, you can see like, I think making these beads smaller is going to help with the scale. And then pulling the dome forward to lengthen it a bit. And then really pushing the roughness. Like a lot of this is just metal with maybe like a dirtiness mask. And then this is all roughness information. That just helps like muddy it up, you know? It's kind of like a dirty glass mask. Like fingerprints and all that jazz. Dude, wild. Oh, I have not made a tutorial on that. Raggedy, do you have any other questions before I jump? You're good for now? All right. Let me turn this off. Hang on. Okay. Whoa, man, it is warm in here. It's not even hot yet. Okay, so folder management. Did someone say folder management? Give me a second here. So there is, I would probably follow what you're doing in your Unreal project. There is a way to separate your source control, which is your assets, like your source content, outside of your Unreal project. But then when it gets updated in that source folder structure, that it automatically goes to your Unreal structure. So that way you keep all of your UE assets in your project, but your source files, like the really heavy stuff, does not go into the project. It goes into its own source folder. Let me see if I can find that. I think it's called Symlinks. But yeah, like if you can get a GitHub project set up, you can separate out all that stuff. But I think what I was gonna say essentially is like what I like to do is have let me delete these. Is this gonna work? Nice. All right. So you have your models, shaders. I don't even need to do it like this. They're just models. So are you, when you're talking about control like that, are you talking about, dude, it is very useful. Yeah, so you have your content folder and then you have your raw content folder. And those are separated. There's a way to do it. I forget how you do it because I have not set up my project. My current project is not set up that way. I just have it off on a different folder. But I usually have it grouped by like asset. So the source folder is like I'd have my props folder, and then usually in the props folder, I would have the prop. Let's say it's prop A, and then in that prop A folder, it's the mesh, the FBX file for it, the textures, and the source like Blender file, and any source files. So like if there's ZBrush files, it's all related. It's all in that one folder for prop A, right? So all of it is contained in the one folder, and all those are resting or sitting in props. Of course, you have your like reference folder, which can have images as well as like pure ref files and all of that. Maybe you have like a link inside of that folder to the Miro board. Like, of course, you can make bookmarks for browser stuff like Miros, like Miro boards and all that. But get in the habit of just saving it as a clickable as well inside the folder. It's just makes it easier to keep track of that stuff. And then when it comes to the Unreal project, I usually just follow what Unreal is doing or what Epic does in their files, because they have a content folder, and then they have like, for me, I use blueprints. Like if I'm using a blueprint, it's going to be there. And I'll store everything in there. Then I have our levels, and then they do mesh and texture, but I usually do mesh and texture in one folder, and then shaders in another folder. And these shaders are just your master shaders, your master materials. So this mesh texture folder, I follow usually what I would do here. So for example, your mesh and your textures would be there, as well as your material instances for those props. So like your prop A is going to be in here. Rip blueprints. Dirty, what's up, man? Indeed, but we probably got a couple years to go until that happens. And then who knows, maybe the end result will actually look like blueprints anyways. Some other visual script thing to debug the thing that we couldn't prompt clearly enough, or we needed to debug the thing we prompted. But yes, rip current blueprint setup. A lot of magic has happened with blueprints. Get some F's in chat. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, Ryujin. I think that was your question, right? And then for anyone who can find the way to link source for Unreal outside of the content folder, pretty please link it in chat. I know there's a documentation on that. Okay. The next question was, I have a question regarding portfolio stuff. So some environments feel like a film set environment and some feel like a game environment. I'm assuming having a game environment is more hireable. For example, in my environments, the right side shot was to make it feel like a game. I wonder what's your view on the topic in general. I mean, when I look at someone's portfolio is largely going to be assessed by me as I am hiring either a level artist that is doing propping. So I'm looking for storytelling. I'm looking for your understanding in like composition and framing and lighting and stuff. If you're doing props, or if I'm hiring for a prop artist, then I'm going to be looking at your material understanding, how you're building stuff, what your wireframes look like, how you're dealing with UVs, the techniques that you use. It doesn't have to be all of the techniques. I just want to see how are you achieving what you're building. And that's largely going like, okay, I see stuff in your portfolio. It looks cool. I like it. Let's make sure that you're building it in a way that is at least close to how like industry standard is, right? And a lot of people aren't far off from the industry standard as far as building something. And it's more about the quality of the actual visual end result, right? So it's more of the fundamentals shining through the technical understanding that you now have. So when it comes to film set environments versus game environments, as long as I can look at your portfolio and go, oh, this person knows how to model, they know how to texture, they know how to tell a story, and I can tell that you're competent enough in the technical side of things to be able to express the artistic and fundamental art side of yourself, then you should be able to fill the role, whether it's a film set or a game environment set, you know? It didn't answer Ryujin. Ryujin. Okay, I need to know more then. Maybe I didn't read your question well enough. Better folder management when working on a project. So I think the best folder management is the one that you can understand and stick to. Oh, I see. But so this is how I like to do it, right? And the longer a project goes on, the more I start to drift from this. One really good habit to have is a test folder, so that if you want to try something and you're not sure if it'll work or it's an experiment and you plan to delete it later, put it in the test folder. And then you should be able to be confident to take anything that's inside that test folder and delete it without worry. The developer folder is perfect for that. Yeah? Yeah. Wait, the developers folder. I'm curious now. I don't think I know that one. There's a folder just called developer. I guess that's what they use it for. At our work, we have a test folder. So that's kind of where if you're experimenting or you're trying things, you throw them in there. Because you can guarantee those don't go to the game fully, or you can wipe those pretty easily. Developer's username. Oh, yeah. Okay, no, we have that as well. Test folder, do not check out folder that always gets checked out. Nice. I don't know what you're talking about, man. That's so good. Dude, I just noticed my mic has been spiking like crazy. Have I been clipping at all for you guys? Dude, it's really difficult to follow all this stuff though. Like, audio's fine? Nice. Okay, good. The number one thing I would say for folder structure or like keeping things organized is do a setup that makes sense for you. It is not overly complicated because it's easier to follow that way. And then make sure you follow it. A whip folder, I mean, the entire project's a work in progress, right? I don't think a whip folder is a good idea. Doing the Wayne's World drive-through for the entire stream, that would have been rough, Raggedy. That would have been really rough. Pilgrim, what do you put in the work in progress folder then? Like, what makes what's in that folder different from? Because maybe I don't get it. Maybe I'm wrong. Or like it's a better way of working. I'm curious now. The other thing you can do with this folder structure is like if you're thinking in kits, you can have like a props folder and then you can have like foliage and then like small props. I don't know if you need to split it up that much, but I think foliage or natural and then like, I don't know, let's just call it man-made. And then you follow this structure. That could be useful. Yeah, see that the whip folder sounds, I mean, you could call your test folder or your developer folder your whip folder. It's stuff that's not really intended to be final or anything like that, and you're trying stuff. Oh, yeah, so they're using Ryujin. What they're saying is they're using like this setup. So let's say I have a props folder and then I have a man-made folder inside of that. And then inside of this man-made folder, every prop will have its own folder. And then inside that prop is the FBX file, the textures, and the source files, which are like the whip files. It sounds like a dope podcast, by the way. Hey, welcome back to our podcast, The Whip Files, where we'd never finish anything. I'm your guest, D Nusty. You can come back here on Sundays for DJ Nusty's top 100 hits. Publish folder. Man, that's interesting. Again, that's like a workflow that works depending on like what you're doing. And if that's what works for Flip Normals, I'm glad that they're showing a like structure, right? So then we have our structure. This is the one I like to use. And naming conventions. Folder structure and naming conventions are freaking everything. If you can name a file so that you know what the texture means just by reading the name of the file, like how the channels are packed, that's the bee's knees. So I think Ryujin, I think the reality is when you join a studio, the file management is solved for you, whether you agree with that file management or not. You just need to make sure you stick to it, right? And then when you go to another studio, they're going to do it in a different way. So there's not really a right or like good answer. Like each studio kind of manages it differently. Dude, where I'm at now, the files aren't even called anything. They're like PR, like this. You're like, oh yeah, do you remember that table we were using in the cafe thing? Oh yeah, what was it called? And it was like, oh yeah, it's PR 0730. And that's how we talk because we're used to it. All right. I think I got all of your questions. I think there was just 2, right? Just make sure I get them before. How do you even find anything? You remember. You remember. Or you go to a place, or you have virtual folders, which you can do in Unreal, right? Where you can group up assets based off of like a theme. Like if you have like a theme of like stones or like market stalls, and those are their own theme topics, right? And then you have all of the assets grouped into those. But yeah. Raggedy. Oh man, I feel your pain. I can read it. It's there. Dude, wild. Okay. All right, I'm going to hop out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out. There's not too many art pieces this time around, which is good because it allowed us to really like focus in on those little details and just take our time and go through the stuff. How can you get into critiques? Philippe, what is up? So in the future, here's the Discord link. And if you pay attention to announcements, when I go live for critique streams, there will be a link to a folder or to a thread, and then you can put your stuff in there. I usually link it in the chat here as well, in case you see. And yeah, that's kind of how we do it. It's pretty organic, but it's also if you're new to it, it's a bit alien. So I understand why you're asking. But yeah, welcome. We're just about to roll out, but I guess we'll talk again. I'll see you guys on Sunday. We'll be looking at Audit 13 stuff. And yeah, next Thursday is also the first DinCon talks, which I'm pretty excited about. So until then, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you again for submitting your stuff, and I'll see you in the Discord. See you guys. Bye.